Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free.
UIC Liberty TV. Change you can trust.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. My name is Joseph Patterson, and tonight we're going to be talking about the Maroon Agenda, Part 2. You might recall we had Part 1 about a week ago, and we had some technical difficulties near the end when our good friend Ras Gadietzz was on, and we could not finish the program. So we're here tonight to finish up the program with you. We hope that he'll be able to join us shortly, and then we can continue on with that discussion. But let me welcome all of you who are on, wherever you are, somewhere out there in the electronic world, on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or anywhere, wherever you are. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Please go ahead and like the show, share it with your friends and family. Let me know where you're writing in from, where you're viewing from. So if you're in Jamaica here, I am in St. Elizabeth, a place called Bogue in the northeastern side of St. Elizabeth, not too far from the Maroon town, from the cockpit country. A rural community, mostly agricultural, about 15 minutes or so outside of Santa Cruz, and about 30 to 35 minutes from Manchester, Mandeville. So we're here live in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. So looking forward to have a chat with you tonight on the trying to understand the Maroons. What is the agenda of the Maroons? Where them come from? What is the color of their skin, or does it matter? What race is the Maroon? How do they fit into the Jamaican context? How does the Maroon relate to the Jamaican government? Are they sovereign or not? So we want to have that conversation with Ras Gadietzz tonight, but let me see why he's not on yet. I think maybe I need to ensure he... Hello, Ras Gadietzz. I don't think you have the link, right? Let me give you the link right now so you can jump on, okay? Yes. Sending it to you right this minute. Just a minute here. Okay, got it. So they're all tuned in and ready to listen to the program. We have quite a bit of people on this side as well, on a number of channels, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. So let me know if you got the link and you're ready to join us. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, that's wonderful. So we are about to go live with Ras Gadietzz. Chief, I think he's called High Chief Ras Gadietzz. I'm going to ask him to tell you again what that means. And we're going to try to, really get into the details of this Maroon thing, because I think there are many, different understandings of the Maroons and, who they are, what are they really fighting for, what are the issues at play here. And it's time the Jamaican people fully understand this business of the Maroon. Are they separate from Jamaica? Or is it like you have Jamaicans and you have Maroon? Is the land of Jamaica supposed to be divided up into pieces, and some part belongs to a group called the Maroons and another part belong to those who are Jamaicans? Should there be a different ID system? The Maroons seem to have, or some Maroons, have a different identification system, different from the one that you have here in Jamaica. There are also some questions about your birth certificates. What does it mean? Is it a bond? Is it a share? Is it somebody having some kind of financial interest in you and some financial authority over you, and you are a kind of a, still a chattel of some sort, like you own some cows or some goats, and you have a marker on them and say this number is for this goat and this number is for this cow. So we want to understand the whole thing. So welcome Desmond Smith, welcome Barima, Abadio, one love to you too. For the Truth in Denham Town, good to see you on. Carol Spence, as always, good to see you on as well. One Perfect Love. Chanel Gordon, Juliet Richards, or Juliet Chambers, sorry about that. So let me welcome on stage now the goodly gentleman. Where is he? I'm not seeing him. There we go. I hope our audio is good tonight. Let me hear your voice, sir.
Grand Rising.
Beautiful, beautiful. No echoes, no problem at all. Good to see you again, sir. All dressed in your, I guess that's your maroon garbs.
Well, last week I got a little feedback. So, this week we're in the said attire, but, our colors signify a lot of things. But I'm here tonight.
Got you. Wonderful, wonderful. And I hope to hear about the feedback that you got. Maybe they were positive, maybe they were negative, maybe it's a combination of the two. What were people saying? What did they like or dislike about our conversation last week?
First and foremost, informative as far as, they love how you put forward the narrative in a sense where, even a 2-year-old could understand it or understand it. So that is something for people to cross, and it's very good.
Excellent. Well, I'm always happy to dig in like that. I used to be a teacher in my younger days. So we're going to pick up where we left off last time, but before we jump into that, I want to review some of the questions we spoke about before, just to refresh the memory of our listeners. And the first thing I want you to tell them again is, what does Nyan Kapong Maroon stand for? What that mean? Nyan Kapong.
Nyan Kapong, meaning children of the gods. Nyan Kapong Pikibu, children of the gods, children, son of God, or, we are at the tip. So Nyan Kapong Pikibu is a Asian terminology as far as our ancestors.
Excellent. So children of the gods, near the top. And you told us what Ras Gadiethz meant last time, because that's your name. Could you repeat that for us again? What does, in our Eurocentric way of speaking, how should we interpret your name, Ras Gadiethz?
Pick up all of the Rasta man, Rasta people. Rasta mean the head. Ras. Gadiethz from the tribe of Gad. So it's Ras Gadiethz.
All right. And since you mentioned the tribe of Gad, is that in any way related to the Hebrews or the Semites or the Jewish ancestry?
Well, our teachings come from our ancestors, So those primitive references to, Kemetic power is from ancient of days. So our language that is even on the pyramids in Egypt and in America right now, it is something that we have, like they say there's 12 months in the year, but we know that through their cooperation, they have cut and paste some of the days and taken away. So the time that you are born, like you have January, February, March, each one of those time that is there, it has a purpose. So we try to find that. I said Gad is for, they call them Scorpios. But Gad in the spiritual realms is of a higher rank when you're conscious of it. So it's about our ancient teachings and
Okay.
knowledge.
So it has nothing to do with God in the Christian Hebrew
Well,
Bible.
well, all of them learn from our ancestors. So whether they're Catholic, whether they're Jews, they still take from us to create themselves. We are the Anukians. We are the Caliphs,
Okay, so if I
children
understand
of God. If I tell you that I am Nyanka Pong Pikibu,
you,
children of the gods,
uh-huh.
then you have to know that we are the creators. Come on, teacher, you know better.
So well, no man, may I try learn, I learn, may I try learn.
No,
And in
teacher,
the,
yeah.
and in the process of learning, we teach. I was taught, you say, a long time ago that one of the best way to learn something is to teach it. So you try to understand it, massage it, digest it, and then you try to explain it to others. And the better you are at explaining it is the more you know it. So me want to understand something here. Are you saying that there's more than one God? Because you say children of the gods. And we know our Christian friends who go to church, be it Catholic, Protestant, or Jewish, believe in one God. And some call that God Jehovah, and some call that God Elohim, some call that God Jesus, and some call that God three in one, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. What are you talking about when you speak of the gods?
Let us create mankind in our own image and likeness. Us is plural. So any one of the synagogues or tabernacles out there that want to dispute that they are gods, that is of their time. I don't have time to mingle in such small affairs because we can see through our eyes
Mm.
that there's more than one. There's a plural to Mother Nature. There's not just any one creation. So white supremacy would love us to, or whatsoever term they want to put it, would love to put us in a bucket and tell us, keep quiet, there's one God and only that God can save you. With that is ignorancy. Just like identifying ourselves as indigenous brothers and sisters before the creation of the Corporation of Jamaica. We are the indigenous people. Our people were there before the British came around.
We're gonna come this soon. But I want to make sure
Yeah.
I understand you. So what you have just told us is that, and you made reference to words that are in the Bible and in the Torah. So it means then that either you're saying those books copied the information, and then so when you're referring to some words and some phrases that we might commonly understand in the Christian heritage and see them and think of them as Christian words or Hebrew words or phrases, what you're telling us is that it's simply a copy and you have the copyright. Your ancestors have the copyright on these matters, really. Not in the legalese sense of the European way, but you're saying ultimately your ancestry, your people, your gods, your entire establishment is before all of these, and the head of all of these, and the foundation of all of these, and the original from which all of these were copied. That's what you're telling us.
What was hidden from the wise and the prudent is now revealed to the babe and the suckling.
Okay.
It is our people who have created what they have found. Now, if they have discovered something that is new to them, that is ancient of days, for you to claim that it starts when you find it, it's ignorancy.
Got it. Got it. So then, when we speak of the gods, there are more than one, a plurality by your reckoning. And the Bible and the Torah is coming from um, your people. And so we're the head and not the tail in all of this rigmarole here. So coming down now to the Maroons, because the last time we discussed it, you described the Maroons as not a particular set of people, but rather any set of people that are indigenous to a particular space and have not been domesticated or transformed by adulterating forces. Did I get that correct?
Maroons, yeah, undomesticated in the sense that their tradition and culture has not been subdued by whether be invaders or investors or people who have come among them over the years. They have still maintained the stand as to how they view life from their civilized perspective, natural law.
So when we refer to Maroons, then we're not referring to a race of people. We're not referring to any particular ethnic group. We're not referring to any particular cultural group. We're referring to any body of people that have not gone astray from their indigenous heritage.
Uh, All right. You know about overseas territories, right? Like the Cayman Islands is an overseas territory. Bahamas, these are overseas territories. Now, if you should leave from the shores of Jamaica or even to America here and go, do you believe that you, as a labeled Jamaican, gets the right as an American that is born indigenously here?
Well, from my observation, rights are determined, unfortunately, by those who conquer and control. You see, your rights and my rights, natural rights, exist only so far as we're able to protect and preserve them.
That is what they would want us to believe. But as we left off from last week, where I say that reading from the losers' books, you would get that sort of sentiments.
So you can't
But
be reading from the loser's book
yeah,
if
but hold on. Everything that you're referring to,
Mhm.
it is a third, not even a third hand story. It's like sixth down the line. Because after revising on revising as to we are of an understanding as far as the maroon in that island that is called Jamaica has a record that in 1738 something happened. Now it was explained by the British in their literature that listen me the guys them usually rob and kill people and they make Paul Bogle and stuff. Them spread their propaganda machines was well oiled. And they set the standard as to the surrender that took place. Because, as I said before, this surrender was not about the bigger artillery, it was the years of not getting the people, the native of the island, to succumb to the British Empire standard of life. We're capturing people, selling people, and having all of these barbarity was something that we accepted. It wasn't civilized for us.
let me
It was of a low degree.
let me just
So
pick up on something that one of our right readers or watchers are saying here, viewers. Andrew McGregor says your inalienable rights cannot be corrupted. Those rights are divine rights. And that's really what you're saying as well. And I share the view that our rights are coming directly from our Creator. Nobody gets to, let me rephrase that. Your rights are inherent, okay? They're inherent to you. But if you can't protect,
inherent or inalienable. You must
both,
use the
both,
power
both,
of the word, because hold on. Just like how they tell us that you're independent, a lot of people run with that garbage, that hogwash. Every year they have this, oh my God, we're independent, but study what the word power means. We are actually talking about someone announcing something. Nothing was signed. So our people are lost because of the lack of their knowledge in words and how they use them. So use that word that is applicable to the sentence that you're talking about.
both of us may not have the same linguistical skills, so please bear with me. So I will use the words that I feel comfortable using, and as I go along, you can educate me in the process. But your rights are inherent to you, or inalienable, or vested. But the bottom line is, if you cannot, and by you I don't mean you just as an individual, but as a collective, If you cannot defend and protect those rights, then it's almost as if you never had them. Because if somebody, hold on, if somebody is able to march into your land and abduct you, tie you up, chain you up, whip you, rape your woman,
The
scar you,
narrative,
hold on,
those not.
hold on, brand you if they wish. And if they're able to take possession of your land and your home and your children, and if they're able to organize your society and write your literature, write your book, write your history, and organize you and put you through a system of schooling that they design to miseducate you, then the fact that you have inalienable or inherent rights only mean that you have a responsibility to fight back and secure those rights. But really you don't until you have secured them, you have lost them, right? So when you say the English, for example, and we started this conversation last time, the English lost the war. That's where we're kind of getting into it now. The English lost the war, and I heard Chief Corey in a thing I was watching earlier today saying they defeated the British. And I'm saying to myself and to our viewers, if the Maroons, whoever they are, defeated the British, why aren't we living under Maroon laws in Jamaica? Why aren't we reading Maroon books in Jamaica? Why aren't we living Maroon culture in Jamaica? Because if you defeat the enemy does not get to write your history, organize your school, shape your government, and control your economy.
The sarcastic or the comical approach that you've just narrated a while ago does not apply to the situation as to how serious it is. This is not something that is unique to the island called Jamaica. The Turtle Islands, aka certain Caribbean islands across from Jamaica, are going through the said synopsis where the British have come in with their linguistic skills and they have hijacked our educational institution. They have hijacked our political system that is Excellency, the Right Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the People's Political Party that was before the PNP and the JLP. If we're talking about the development of our people and how far ahead we were and we are. Now, as far as the so-called not using the dogmatic tactics that they have applied to our people, the race is not for the swift, but for those who can endure it. And there's one ending to this. We will either, in our knowledge, breed you out of existence. Because if you notice, each time that the corporation figure more or less that they have won the battle, just like how Michael Manley came through the doors of Norman Manley and the hypocrite Busterman to these people who did not like the Maroon in itself, we have always survived. We in this time now, through the knowledge of our people, have learned these wise and prudent. If you notice the kind of people on the chat line tonight, these are diplomats, These are not simple people. These people are the people who are waiting for the de facto government to fall apart so we can rightfully take our place. Our indigenous rights is not something that we're asking for to be validated by the crown. We have beaten the crown. It is evident. And hold on, it was a military defeat, Brother Patterson. It was a military defeat because just as I tell you, if you're fighting someone for more than 50 years, military-wise, even lesser, you have lost the battle because you have not convinced the society that your good governance is of any good to our people.
Follow me now, because, I am a very simple person. So I like to break things down simply. Right now, and since the 1950s, they have been extracting bauxite from Jamaica at an alarming rate. I mean, tons and tons of bauxite being taken out. Now, Jamaica, compared to other countries, is a relatively small piece of land, relatively, I mean, it's smaller than the smallest state in the US, Connecticut. It is, not a very big piece of mass that we have here. And they have been excavating and extracting our minerals for some time now, to the point where they started to get, in some cases, diminishing returns and began to expand their portfolio of land leases that they have leased from the government of Jamaica, which in many instances, the government also is a partner in the business, owning shares, sometimes 51%. Every time they extract this mineral from our land, a few things happen. One, that piece of land for the most part is destroyed. Two, that land becomes less able to retain water in order to maintain the water table balance across the country. The species that were in that area that created the biodiversity which supports life is destroyed, devastated. The air and the soil itself, the dust, is poison and poisonous. Many Jamaicans, without even knowing it, become cancer-ridden and die miserable, poor, painful lives. Farmers lose massive amount of farmland territory. Our food production goes down. Our ability to feed ourselves as a nation declines, and our ability to provide water for our nation declines. Now, much of this happens in areas that are considered or were considered to be Maroon territory. And each and every year, that infringement continues. And we have skirmishes here and there between those who call themselves Maroon and those who call themselves the government of Jamaica. And inch by inch, it is clear, at least to me, that the Maroons and the people of Jamaica are losing and have lost tremendously. To what end, then, is this battle of the Maroons when you continue to lose territory and you and Jamaicans, whoever they are, continue to suffer the consequences under a government that you must deal with, and they oftentimes have the upper hand over you on almost every front, even if there are skirmishes where you pretend to win a minor arrangement at that point. The powers that be, the corporations that are digging out our land and poisoning our land and our people, they are winning more and more and more. And you're telling me that in time, we're going to eventually succeed? Is that when we have no more land left and we have
Uh,
poisoned
I,
all of the water?
I am happy that you mentioned that, because we have a simple solution to that. I hold in my hand a pen, and I'm talking to my expatriate brothers and sisters. I'm talking to my brothers and sisters who are in the islands, especially Jamaica, the 144 square miles. I have in my hand a pen. Now, the pen is mightier than the sword. Our oppressors knew that. But, we're fighting not only physical people, we're fighting spiritual wickedness in high and low places. Now, we are all kidnapped. We are all hijacked because a piece of paper that is given to us from birth, called a registration paper, have a red number on it. And that red number is for the crown. Now, you are worth $1 billion, but because you don't know your worth, they tell you that, listen, you're a slave. We were never slave. We're indigenous brothers and sisters, especially the ones who ascribe to their ancestral lineage. It is written on the birth paper that your stock and bonds, please, Brother Patterson. Now, a stock, just like my grandma took me to Coronation Market with a stock of bananas, a stock of sour sops, or a couple baskets. and the bonds is what she exchanged and got them. That is where we are right now. The only reason why the de facto corporation that is run by the British Empire called Jamaica can have us in bondage is because we are registered to them. Not only Jamaicans alone. We don't have a earth anymore. We have a corporation. So all these appellations out there, whether you're a Barbadian, a Vincentian, a Tertullian, you are part of the corporation. What the Maroon is doing now through, and all the scholars that are listening can interpret the 1738 declaration in whatever form they want to interpret it, but it does bring us to a line where we have identity crisis. So the only way we can stop having these corporation ruled our destiny is to come from under their jurisdiction. Now they will tell us that it's a fraud to identify yourself, but the ILO give us that sort of, you have the right to self-identify. Now, if you want to identify, hold on, Brother Patterson, one last piece of it.
What is the ILO? Just so we know what that is.
The United Nations Charter.
ILO?
Yes.
What does the I stand for?
International Labour Ordinance.
International Labour Ordinance.
Yeah, code.
Okay, well, I know, yeah, an ordinance or a code. So the United Nations.
Hold on.
You know, I want you to help us out here by helping us to learn. And the way you're going to help us to learn is by taking it slow. The United Nations, you're telling us, have written down an international labor ordinance. Am I correct? The United Nations have written down in an international labor ordinance. Is that correct?
It's an understanding by nations as to what.
Just clearly,
Yeah.
Is it the United Nations?
Yes.
They have written down a code, a document, and said this is International Labor Ordinance. Why do they call it labor? What's the labor for? What is the labor? What is the importance of the labor?
Well, our interpretation.
Why is it labor?
Our interpretation of that acknowledgement as to our inalienable rights, it is a reminder to the scholars out there that whenever you infringe on these natural rights of our people, it's a violation.
Right, but the labor, what is the labor for? I want to understand.
Well, whether it's determined that labor is tied into stocks and bond, because that is how the corporation view you and I. Right. We are their property if that's what they consider us to be.
Got it. But I just wanted to, for example, when you say, the Ministry of Labor, it's talking about people working, your work.
Sure. It means moving around stocks like the Canadian to make the stocks to go to Canada. Let us not get caught up in what their determination of what they've written.
What is it? You are referring to a document. You're referring to a code.
Yes.
Now, whenever you're going to refer to a code or a document, you want to understand the origin of that document. You want to understand the authority of that document.
I'm trying to bring it up now. If you want to stray into that area.
No. All I want is to get for you to give simple answers. We can always go look at the details later.
Yes.
So this code was written by the United Nations, meaning...
No, all right, Brother Patterson, I know as a teacher you want to dig into the subject of it, but we're here tonight to actually bring the solution to our people. The solution... No.
There's no solution without understanding the problem.
No, but for you to understand what I'm saying, to you...
So I'm asking a question to make sure I understand the problem as you see it.
And you asked me in a long question a while ago with all the ills as to the bauxite company that is killing the fish in the water, and the 100-year lease that they've given to the Russian, and all of these things, when we don't have a aluminum plant in sentence, these sort of disgraceful governance. That's what you were talking about. Our solution, as I said to you, is that the pen is more mighty than the sword. So you speaking to me now under their jurisdiction as a Jamaican, because I know you're not claiming your heritage as a Maroon, your Marcus Garvey bloodline. You have not reached out to anyone of, whether it be is Emperor LA or Richard or any one of us who are moving in that direction, because we need people of your power, to stop wanting to win the fight and claim the victory that our people have
The
right
first
now.
thing I want to do, my good brother Rascadites,
Yes.
is to make sure that I and all Jamaicans watching tonight fully understand what you're talking about.
Hmm.
And so far, it's been a challenge in this current conversation. So I want you to help me to understand fully. So you mentioned United Nations. What is the role of the United Nations in the Maroons fight?
All right.
What is no, no, just tell me now, what is the role of the United Nations in your fight, in your mission? Where does United Nations fit in? What is their function? What is their importance? What is the significance of the United Nations and this ILO document?
All
What
right.
does it mean to you?
Our significance to us, align ourselves with some form of civility, although there is none in the United Nations, as you can clearly see with the hypocritical mockery that is happening within the so-called Middle East, is to show our brothers and sisters that if we have this sort of recognition in civility, where they recognize that the indigenous rights of our people cannot be infringed on, there
Mr.
we can start a conversation, Brother Patterson.
Nayan Kapong Maroon Rasgadites.
Nayan Kapong. Yeah.
Moaya tell me, what is the purpose of the United Nations in the Maroon struggle? Where does it fit in?
As I said to you a while ago, it is an organization that is the gathering of all nations, right?
Mhm.
And they have recognized the rights of the indigenous brothers and sisters. Now, if someone can align themselves with your rights, I think you can use that as a bridge to have dialogue where people can say, oh, well, if the United Nations are the Maroons, them are indigenous and them supposed to have them rights respected by the British Empire. It's not a if or but. It is what it is.
So now I understand. That was so clear. That's a very beautiful
Thank you, brother.
Mr. Rascal. It's very so basically what you're saying is the United Nations have acknowledged what you consider your rights to be, and you want to use that reference point to then battle nations that are a part of the United Nations. So, for example, the British, they're a part of the United Nations. The Americans, they're a part of the United Nations. The French, and all of these colonial powers that have done tremendous damage around the world to all kinds of people. You are subscribing to their institution to legitimize your claims.
No, to have diplomatic reasoning on that accord, because we're not asking for verification from them. We're simply showing them in a civil manner that if say there's 135 in the United Nations that has voted unanimously that the indigenous brothers and sisters of this land can return in all their rights, then why shouldn't we align ourselves with that? We're not going corporate here where they try to tell us that you don't have no rights, you only have privileges. We don't have any, as far as the birth paper go with the straw man, our living man and woman have an inheritance from our ancestors that give us right to water, right to land, right to air, right to everything.
So as the UN identified the Maroons of Jamaica as indigenous to Jamaica.
It is quite evident, as I said last week, that on
I'm saying, has the UN identified the Maroons of Jamaica by name as indigenous to Jamaica?
You are getting technically, and I don't mean this as any disrespect, but a lot of people see Duns as a credited upliving. If we have a heritage that shows that Brother Patterson was existing before 1962, what would you call us then?
No, I'm not questioning what you think of yourself, you know.
Know
I'm,
what I think of myself. I have a
I'm
birth
asking
paper
you,
that shows that the
no,
corporation say that I'm a Jamaican.
mm, I'm asking you, has the UN identified the Maroons of Jamaica as a group to be an indigenous people of Jamaica?
No, that sentence is back way. Not off Jamaica, because we're not off Jamaica.
Oh,
Jamaica came in 1962, brother.
okay,
Brother, brother.
okay. You define for me what you will call it. What do you want to call the piece of land we're talking about?
We have just said to you that we, as
What do you call it? What do you call the piece of land we're on? What do we call
before it
Jamaica?
was called Jamaica,
No, what do you call it today? What is the piece of land called? What is it? Is
our
it
ancestors call it Nyankapong.
okay? So the piece of land that we know as Jamaica, you call it Nyankapong, has the UN, to which you ascribe great authority, has the UN identified Nyankapong as the place of origin or indigenous to the Maroons in this area that you call Nyankapong, which we know as Jamaica. Is that the case? The UN has designated the name, the people of Nyankapong, and this the area that we know as Jamaica as Nyankapong, and that you are the original people of that area? Has the UN done that?
Before 1962, it
Remember,
was known before.
I'm
It
saying
was
as the UN.
it was not registered
No,
as
as the
Jamaica.
UN. No, we're not. I know. We're just. I'm saying the word Jamaica because that's the one all of us can relate to easily.
That is what they've taught
Right.
us.
Of course. I mean, my good friend, no Jamaican on the island here, unless they're taught otherwise by you or somebody else and come to accept and believe it by statute and by tradition, will ever refer to Jamaica as the Yonkapong unless they have a strong basis on which to do that. So before you kill them, before you crucify them for using a
No,
phrase,
I'm not doing that to my people. The only damage people damage other people. Nyankapong is about love, brother Patterson. But we cannot we must not entertain the sarcasm as to if our people
my
are
good
dumb.
friend,
Hold on. And I'm not saying
don't
that you're
agree
not
on words. We can't
ho-
we can't talk to each you and I. If I come to you and speak French and you speak German, for example, we get nowhere tonight because nobody listening to us will be able to understand. Because if I ask you a question in French and you respond in German and the people listening only know patois, you have a problem. None of us we're speaking in tongues. We're babbling and nobody can understand. So in order for us to be clear, I am going to say to you the place that we know as Jamaica today, which you call Nyankapong, does the UN recognize Nyankapong and your group of people, the Maroons, as the indigenous people of that space? Yes or no?
I see where someone said that you must keep the interrogation going. But brother Joseph, I love the fact. Hold on, and I'm giving you a lot of reading space because, as I said to you, I'm not reading from the loser's book, and my reference to that organization and that everyone here can testify that that organization, it is knowledgeable as to how nations come together and try to make decisions. Now, our indigenous rights as Maroons, what that we identify that we weren't slave, is something that is questionable by many.
No,
But
me not question it. All I want to know is if the UN said you are indigenous to this piece of
no,
rock.
as I said, but brother Patterson, as I said, we are not looking for
No,
verification
I'm
from
not
these
saying you
organizations.
are. You were the one that
But
referred to us.
we are indigenous. We are indigenous.
Rough Gadites. Every time. me talk to
Aren't
somebody,
you indigenous?
listen to me, listen to me. Every time me talk to somebody from your
Yes,
space, they
yes.
refer to the UN as an authoritative body on which they base their argument. So I'm trying here tonight to clarify for myself and for my fellow Jamaicans until we become the Yankapons. I am trying to clarify for all of we. Are you saying that the Maroons in the space that we know as Jamaica, that they are indigenous to this piece of land? Is that what you're saying? Yeah? And you're saying the UN has confirmed that or acknowledged that or spoken to that in their codes, in their legislation?
Within this the description of indigenous, the Maroons are indigenous.
No. Have they identified the Maroons of Jamaica as indigenous?
Within the description of using the word by the United Nations that describes indigenous people as someone who is before the creation of the corporation, the Maroons fall in the right context.
Okay. So what I see then, the UN has spoken about indigenous people, and your group have taken on the title of,
My group,
yeah, man, the Maroon group, the group you identify with. You
my,
that
my
group,
birthright, my birthright, our birthright, your birthright also.
my brother. I can't claim women to understand. You
Oh,
understand.
oh Lord, mighty God. Anyway, go ahead.
You say you're crucifying me. No? You're telling me I must make a claim. For example, me have a piece of land in St. Elizabeth. Suppose one day somebody come and say to me, Mr. Patterson, so the land where you're upon, and my great, 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 great grandfather land that. I'm ready to take it now. Now, me and him going to have a problem because me know say my land. Now, suppose there is hidden evidence that when carefully examined, we find out it's really not my land, a theme land. But until that understanding is achieved, and if I'm trying to trespass upon my land, he will probably leave that land in a very severe condition. So if you want me to accept what you're telling me, you're going to have to help me to learn and understand. Not by your pronouncement, but by us examining the facts and the evidence and coming to some understanding. Not because Ras Gadites say so, make it so. It's because Ras Gadites and this African, which has been called Joseph Patterson because of his European mix up, come to understand what we're talking about and then make that transition. Will you bear with me as I learn from you, most High Chief Ras Gadites?
Our people suffer because of the lack of knowledge, but of course, I'm here tonight
Good. So let's
because I
continue.
want us to have a
Good.
dialogue.
So we were talking about the. So it's clear to me now that the UN has not identified the Maroons in Jamaica as indigenous, but the Maroons in Jamaica, at least those associated with your group, because there are multiple groups of Maroons, they're not just one homogeneous group. So the group that you identify with have taken on to yourselves the idea that you are indigenous to this piece of landmass here, and as such, whatever the UN says about indigenous people ascribes to you. Have I summarized it properly?
There's no other way. We are indigenous, yes.
Okay, good. So that's settled. So now I want to move on to this question here. What is the relationship between the Maroons in this landmass called Jamaica and the government of Jamaica? What is the relationship between the two?
All right. Our brothers and sisters through Nyankapong Maroon government, and it is a reclaiming of our identity. Now, the Jamaican government, who we see through years, is a representative of the crown. It does not represent the indigenous brothers and sisters because our rights keep on being taken away from us. We can't have our own school, our own institutions that will empower our people with their rights. So we are indigenous to the Jamaican Westminster government that is applying to the Maroons. If we have a surrender from the British, why should we adhere to the Westminster style of government? It's not, that's what our ancestors fought against. We did not want to be in that trench where our rights are taken away and our lands are being confiscated by organizations under the quotation as the crown land. How can you have crown land when you lose the war?
So, in other words, let me clarify this now. The Jamaican government,
Yes.
working in collusion with their colonial masters and with the full support of the PSOJ oligarchs who fund the two parties that form that government, have been consistently and over time diminishing the rights and freedoms of the Maroon people that occupy a space in the island known as.
No, that govern the entirety of the island. We
Okay,
don't
okay,
occupy.
wonderful,
We are the
wonderful.
majority. We are the majority.
Okay, no, I'm following you, I'm following you. So I'll rephrase that. So the government of Jamaica, which is really a proxy for the Crown of England, the colonial masters, their masters, and the PSOJ oligarchs that fund them, they have been systematically infringing on your right to your life, to your liberty, and your property. Am I correct?
Our rights, indigenous rights.
Yeah, the right to your life, liberty, and property. Because those are the three things. If you don't have those three, then nothing else matters, right? And on top of that, not only have they confiscated your lands, they are demonstrating to you that even though you think you are the winners of the war, that you're really the losers, aren't you?
They're doing it through paper terrorism. You know, as I said before, Joseph, you get a nice bundle of joy, your wife bring a baby for 9 months, you feed, do all of that. And as soon as it jump out of the wombiverse of your wife, somebody take the fingerprint, the footprint and weigh it and say, this is weight 10 pound in gold, you know. And from there forth, them have it as a stock and bond. It is atrocious, David. We're civilized, man. We
I
cannot
see,
continue in
I
this sort
see.
of demonic Masonic
I want to
ways.
get to that issue about the stocks and bonds because I am a for the better part of my career, I've spent it in the corporate world dealing with finance, stocks, bonds, investment, derivatives, and forex, and all that kind of stuff. So we want to talk about those stocks and bonds. But before I get there, I just wanted to fully understand the nature of the relationship between the Maroon and the government of Jamaica. And what you're telling me right now, the Maroons in Jamaica are subservient to the government of Jamaica.
No, you're using these low frequency words to really give accreditation to the corporation. But what I'm saying, David, is, Brother Patterson, is that through this paper terrorism and the registration, if you want to open anything or even sell downtown now, the corporation is like a vampire. They're sucking everything. As you just said a while ago,
Absolutely.
most of the taxes, and hold on, indigenous brothers and sisters who are walking around recognizing the power of the corporation that is not distributing the wealth as to the resources and the creativity of our people and the artistic. We bring leadership to the governance of the world, but our leaders are gatekeepers in the sense that they tell you you're a Jamaican. When you check the stock exchange, you're number 4 on the brand chain, beaten only by China, America, Russia, and some big continents, and yet still you don't have no good representation. Then this must be an infiltration, Brother
All right.
Patterson.
So
And
you
hold on, last but not least, as I said, because you are registered to someone, the rules and regulation on your birth paper that is owned by the crown. That's why when a police grab up anybody and beat them up, you don't have any rights because you are stocks and bond, and the officer get paid to not serve you. But
Ras, all
yeah,
of what you're saying has a place in our discussion, but what
yes,
happened
sir. I'm just
is
trying to catch time, sir, because last week we got cut off.
we keep mixing it in, and I'm trying to get us one step at a time. So um, I wanted to confirm with you that based on what you have described to me, that the government of Jamaica at will and consistently over time is infringing on your sovereignty. They are denying you the kind of freedoms and property rights that are yours by right. And if that is the case, and we know that you and I agree who they work for. The Jamaican government does not work for the people of Jamaica or the Maroons of Jamaica. The government of Jamaica works for the colonial masters and whoever else is the highest bidder. They work for the PSOJ oligarchs who control the economy here in Jamaica. So we know that already. But if they are so able to infringe on your rights with impunity and get away with it every day, including the mass giveaway of our lands, the destruction of our agriculture, the destruction of our water, the destruction of our fisheries, the destruction of our health, if they're able to do that consistently, all in God's creation can the Maroons continue to say that they won the war?
As I said before, if they surrendered in 1738 because of a time lapse, hold on, brother, and they've restarted the clock. This is what Mr. Schwab's talk about, the reset. And this is what the colonizers have been doing. They fight for a portion of time, then they see that they can't beat you, they friend you, and then them start back, try to poison you. Our ancestors is enduring 285 years from 1738 up until 2023. Make it 285 years that we have been withstanding some of these atrocity that they have put on our people. I want to say this collectively. We, the Maroons, are so diverse, and that's why we survive, because they're looking for us to give them a Marcus and give them a Malcolm. But we shall be like sand upon the seashore. Right now, you're doing the ancestors' work, even if you don't want it. Because right now, a lot of your colleagues are going to have to do some homework as to what I'm talking about, Maroon. Maroon exists, but yet still they have a nanny walking and spending. This is the ignorance of some of our people. We have the winning method in our hands. Yes, continues.
Hold on. Let me ask you another question now. We're getting somewhere now, and by the end of this conversation,
there's no end.
This conversation,
Yeah.
the end of this conversation, you're gonna see. No, the relationship between the government of Jamaica and the Maroons is one where the victors in the war continues to control the property, the land of Jamaica, and the people in that space, including the Maroons. But
impersonators. I would call them impersonators, Brother Patterson.
But can you explain if the Maroons of Jamaica have a national identification card and what advantage this card provides the carrier of such?
If I give you a contract, if you're in contract with me, you're going to have to abide by my rules and regulation. But if I have no contract with you, you can't. I'm not under your jurisdiction. We are under the jurisdiction of our birth paper. We're under the jurisdiction of the corporation. But through our nativity, our national sovereignty, we can identify it with our ancestors. If you deny us the right to return, you're infringing on our rights. It's simple as that.
Sorry, let me ask the question again. Does the Maroon of Jamaica have a national identification card, and what is the benefit or value of such a card?
All right. Collectively, our identification cards allow brothers and sisters to identify via their tribal affiliation and to establish the fact that the 1738 surrender give us that sort of lineage. Now, I want to say to our brothers and sisters that there are certain things that we have to know that it is not given. You are born with it. The Maroon in this time, through our connection globally and identifying through Nyankapong is, establishing the fact that we can identify ourselves and don't pay taxes, do not just occupy land but own it, because it's not a crown land, it's our ancestral lands. And of course, to develop the resources of our indigenous lands, not for the benefit of the investors, but for the benefit of the indigenous brothers and sisters. It's atrocious that they build highways by foreign companies and charge us to walk on our native land. Charge us. And because we are, whether too educated to stand up for our brothers and sisters, we just fall in line, and it's not carrying us to a good place.
So let me clarify this. You do have a identification card for Maroons, yes or no?
Yes, we do.
And the benefit of that card, when you own that card, you are no longer subject to the laws of the land as it relates to the government of Jamaica. Is that correct?
No, you're no longer an imposter of your birth land. This is your native people. This is your tribal identity. Let me ask a question. If the British can come in our land and set up a registry and give you documents, what sort of authority do they have?
The only authority they have is the gun.
I agree. But as I said, the pen is more mightier than the gun.
Well, so far the gun has ensured that they control our economy, control our
No, the gun. Hold on. And hold on, brother Patterson. Hold on.
No, hold on a second. Let me say this. The pen is mightier than the sword insofar as people can read with a pen write. No, if people can't read with a pen write, there's no power in that pen. What is clear though, people can see the gun. Those who you call them, they surrendered. Those who surrendered to you in 1738 currently controls our government, controls our economy, controls our water, controls our education, controls our healthcare. Just the other day, they were trying to force us to take an injection. Hold on. You're muted, but hold on. The point I'm making is...
Are you talking about the Middle East? We're not Palestine, please.
No,
Jamaica is not Palestine.
I'm talking about Jamaica, where...
Nyankapong.
You are telling me, yes, what you call Nyankapong and what most ordinary people know as Jamaica. What you're telling me is that those who surrendered to you currently control everything that you want to control. But they surrendered to you. That's what you're telling me. And I wanted to understand from you, what is the validity of having my Nyankapong Maroon ID? When I get that ID, what does it mean to me? When I come and sign your registry or the registry of the Maroon Nation, okay? When I sign that and when I get that card and I start to walk around with that card, like a card like this, let's say I have a card, right? And I start to walk around with this card and say, okay, this is my Maroon identity. Does it mean that I'm no longer subjected to the laws of Jamaica as prescribed by the government of Jamaica? Is that what it means? Yes or no? I'm not hearing you. You're muted.
It's not a yes or no question. So let me answer you, right?
Okay.
The Admiralty law or the military law that the corporation is using to govern our people by invading our rights with their Admiralty, their sea laws. There are 4 laws, Brother Jefferson, and you should know that. The laws to the land, the laws to the water, the laws to the air, and the laws to the word or the fire. Now, through the Roman channel of governance, which is a Westminster governance, everything is run through military. That's why our people are forcefully given privileges. You're not given rights. Your inalienable rights are taken away from you because they do that. Now, with our card, the right to identify yourself, it takes you out of their jurisdiction. When
So
you're
what does
out of
that
there,
mean? What does it mean to be out of
that means that you have no rights over me.
Well,
You cannot infringe on my rights.
that's why I ask you the question. If I get my
Yes,
maroon card,
your
it means
ancestral identification.
if I get the maroon, Nyankopong maroon card, does it
Yes.
mean I am no longer subjected to the laws of the Jamaican government? Does that mean
You
that?
there
Yes
no
or
hold
no?
on. Hold on. Natural law overrides the
No,
laws of
okay.
Jamaica.
Let's take what you said a while ago as gospel. Natural law override the laws of Jamaica. If I follow natural law and by extension I break the laws of Jamaica, are there any consequences?
If the laws are if Jamaica is oppressive to the indigenous brothers and sisters, it is not lawful. It's a
But
law, but it's not lawful.
why you can't, we know that. For example, there were laws that says you can
You
own
cannot
slaves.
bring this piracy thing in a Nyan Kapong,
No, listen, man.
and
No, you need to
sir,
follow me. You need to follow me because
yes,
I'm heading somewhere. But if you don't help me to head there, we can't go there. You see, what everything that the UIC stand for is built on truth, accountability, transparency, and rationality. If we're not pragmatic, we can talk until the cows come home. We end up nowhere but without our land, our liberty, and our life. Okay? So we have to be very clear. We have to be brutally honest to be able to build honest solutions. So watch me now. I want to know again if and when I get my Nyankopong Maroon identity card, does it mean I am no longer under the jurisdiction of the Jamaican government and therefore I am not subject to its laws, whether or not those laws are just laws or unjust laws?
what are the jurisdiction of the Corporation of
Yes
Jamaica?
or no, my brother?
I no, I asked you a question, brother Patches, but does the Corporation of Jamaica hold on no, let me talk. Let me talk. You just talk. If the Jamaica Corporation is run by a foreign entity as to the British Empire, how does it get jurisdiction?
Sorry, say that again.
How does it have jurisdiction
How does
over
it
the
work?
native? Over the native of the land. How does a foreign entity get jurisdiction over the native of the
Very,
land?
very simple. By the gun.
There you go again. You're a very violent minded. We don't think in that capacity, brother
No,
Patterson.
listen, I am being practical. You're being
No,
listen.
no, brother Patterson.
The
If
only
our
way.
ancestors, hold on, if our ancestors was not being ingenious, you wouldn't come out of your mother. All of us would annihilated if Nanny wasn't a cunning guerrilla warfare
No, we're not.
entity.
I am not questioning the subtlety or the effectiveness or the bravery of Nani or any of those who have fought for our rights and freedom. I, for
Yeah,
one, I, for one, cherish and honor all of our great men and women who have fought and died bravely in the cause of freedom. What we're talking about here now, though, is facts. We want to understand the facts. We want to be able to establish the foundation upon which we build solutions. So I ask you a simple question and I can't get a simple answer because you won't tell me whether or not when I get this identification card, I will
you're out.
now I will no longer be under the jurisdiction of the government of Jamaica. So I think the answer is no. Since you can't give me a yes or no, the answer is no. So I move on to my next question. Um, can you identify and explain any conflicts between the Maroons and the government of Jamaica? Tell me what is the biggest conflict between the two today?
We don't have a conflict with the Jamaica Corporation because
Oh,
as we as indigenous brothers and sisters has said time and time again that our surrender was not to the Corporation of Jamaica. Our surrender came from the British Empire.
okay.
Now, the British Empire that oversee the Jamaican government need to tell their forceful brothers and sisters that respect our right.
So your conflict is not between the government of Jamaica and yourself. It is between you and the crown.
Yeah, because the crown in our Our story is the one that invaded the island.
Okay, got it. So your conflict is with the crown, and what you're doing, you're asking the
And we don't
crown.
have a conflict. We don't have a conflict.
No, you don't have a conflict.
No, we don't have a conflict with no one because, as I said to you from day one, that we are all brothers and sisters. But
You have surrendered. You have surrendered.
yeah, they surrendered because we did not
You
accept.
have surrendered.
Surrender to who?
But if you say no, hold on. Right now I see a war going on.
Where?
Every day in
Where?
Jamaica is a massive war.
No. They would like to build. Listen to me. The corporation govern out of chaos. That's why they spread the rumors about Maroon this and Maroon that, and have our people registering as this and that. Because when we're distracted, they reap and break the bank. We are focused with our ancestral powers.
We, the people of Jamaica, by whatever definition you shall call any one of us, subset or otherwise, we, the people of Jamaica, are in a serious war. Just a few years ago, between 2020 and 2022, we were involved in one subset of that war, a massive war for our bodies, where they wanted to inject us all.
It wasn't Jamaica alone.
No, I know. I'm just identifying.
It was a global pandemic, a pandemic.
Mr. Gadeithz,
yes.
We're talking about Jamaica at the moment, this piece. But I agree with you, the war is bigger than just here. But I wanted to identify that we are at war. Now, the first step in order to solve our problem is to understand it. The Jamaican people have been under assault for a very, very long time. They war against us in our minds with our education system. They war against us through our healthcare system by moving us away from indigenous medicine, from the things we know how to cure ourselves, to using and depending on their poisonous pharmaceutical solutions. They have gotten into our food cycle or food chain and moved our taste buds away from our indigenous foods and caused us to now rely on fake foods that are injurious to our bodies. So they have messed up our minds, they have messed up our food, they have messed up our healthcare system. They are consistently owning our lands and our seashores and taking away more and more and more of the value of our lands in so many. That to me is war. They're destroying the minds of our children. Our kids are coming out of school duncer than they went in. That to me is war. So there's a serious war going on. And the question is, if you and I, as fellow Jamaicans,
indigenous brothers and sisters,
if you and I, whatever we call ourselves,
say the word, you're an indigenous to the island.
I have a right to choose my words, as do you. So
words are powerful.
Very much so. And it's your choice what you say. So here we are. If we don't understand the issue, if we don't understand the war, we might fight the wrong battles. So we might fight the wrong battles, and in the end, after much yapping, and after much and many talk shows, and after much fanfares and all kinds of incredible things, we end up losing the war again. Because believe it or not, we lost the last one, whether you want to accept it or not. As long as we do not have control over if we don't have control over our mind, body, character, land, life, education, if we don't have those, not telling me about we win no war. We win when we control our destiny. We win when we control our land. Hold on.
All right. Go ahead.
So what I realize we have done, we have spiritualized away our reasoning ability. We have ancestorized away our competences. So rather than being pragmatic and practical and focused and militant in achieving our objectives, we have allowed ourselves to become fairy tale. And in that fairy tale, we now live in a fairy tale fantasy of successes, which we don't have, losing even what we still have. And I am saying to you tonight, and to my fellow Maroon and Jamaican friends, let us get practical and get real and focus on real solutions. And if we do, it means we're going to have to become militant. We're going to have to become strategic. We're going to have to become really engaged in the war, in the conflict, in the battle to regain our sovereignty and to keep it. And sometime to do that, you have to play them at their own game. You have to infiltrate them too, the way they infiltrated you. And you're going to have to undermine them the way they undermined you. And you're going to have to build capital the way they build capital. And you're going to have to own your stocks and your bonds too, the way they have owned their stocks and bonds too. But when I come back to that,
No, 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 no. You're not going to throw so much sauce on the plate and then leave it like that. Let me say this to you, brother Pattison.
Yes.
You have reiterated everything that is connected to identifying ourselves. Now, the art of war, not many of our people study it. And I know that you said that we can talk here and yap here. But as I said, the race is not for the swift, but for those who can endure it. We don't want to give our people another pie in the sky. Go vote for UNC or go vote for PNP or go vote for GLP when the crown. Each time our leaders go up and say, I swear to serve the queen and the heir to our throne, it demolish all the aspiration of the next generation, because the next generation is looking up to us right now to have some backbone, some tenacity, where we can reel back our royalty and our esteem as to our ancestors. Nanny was not just a commoner. Nanny was a queen. And if we are coming from that lineage, we need to be from that lineage. Now, a simple thing, as you say, that we are in a fairy tale. The last time when the pandemic came, they told our people that we're going to die if we don't get inoculated. We stick to our garlic, we stick to our ginger, and we stick to our lime skin. Don't we here today? What the ancestors are just discovering is that what they considered to be uncivilized was actually more than light years ahead of them. They're just discovering soursop leaf. They have soursop leaf selling over here, 4 leaf for $3. But yet still, the ignorance of our people, boy, I'm broke and no money, In the midst of water, we're thirsty. We need true leadership and not some comical brother or sister who is going to come and kiss the asset of our slave master to play nice to beat them. We will not play nice to beat them and ask them for validation to recognize our indigenous rights. It is clownery. And what the corporation has been doing for the last 62 years, where all of these so-called jacket and tie guy go up there and tell us, boy, Jamaica mash up. But when you go overseas, our Nyan Kapong nation is rated number 4. Our talking, our patois, where them cuss and say, you chat too, but if you don't chat patois, people don't recognize us. Usain Bolt is the fastest man on planet Earth, and Ferrari don't have a well, hey, this sort of thing get me uptight when we see we're wasting time trying to act.
Ras Gadiethz,
Yes, my brother.
this kind of thing gets you upset and unhappy, as it does me.
No, not upset. Not upset. Never upset. Just a bit irritated, but
let me tell you something I have observed. This year, I turned 52 years old. I was very fortunate to have been born to a single mother, downtown Kingston, in a place called Blake Road, close to Beeston Street and Hanover Street. We lived in a one room house, where most time dinner was made of cornmeal and callaloo. And I say I was fortunate because at a very early age, my mother was an activist for one of the 2 colonial political parties. And so I spent a lot of time with her, traveling around to various political events and activities. From the age of 7, I became very aware of politics and followed that very closely. And I observed that one of the things for which we're most gifted as a people is to talk and talk and talk and talk.
Marcus Garvey.
Where we are least gifted, it appears, is in organizing, and revolutionizing. Marcus Garvey appeared to have been the last successful of the batch.
Why would you say that, Brother Patterson?
Let me finish my statement and you'll understand why. Since Marcus Garvey, if you look at our country and look at our activities, we have not been able to organize even a fraction of what he has done. We have not been able to replicate even a fraction of what Nani and the team did. What we have done, though, is to become really good at fanciful talk, very good at describing how bad the problem is, very good of being agitated and angry, but not good at revolution, not good at organizing. We keep depending on external forces to come and organize us. And most times we respond if their coloration looks much lighter than ours and if their ear texture look very different from ours. When one among us rise up and seek to organize us, our quickest effort is to condemn, kill, crucify, and destroy that person or that group of persons. We are not focused on the problem. We're focused on talking about the problem, not fixing the problem. We're focused on cuddling the problem. And I want us to move away from that. But you said something earlier which I want to stick a pin on. You refer to Nani as a queen, which means you see Nani as royalty. And you said she was not a commoner. What makes someone royalty and someone a commoner? I want to understand that. What would make Nani royalty and the rest of us commoners?
Well, as I said before, if someone owns you, you're a commoner. The difference between a free man or woman is an enslaved man or woman. And this is how the corporation has commonized us, where it's the regularize. You are regular.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't agree with the royalty. If we talk about free versus slave, no, we can understand that. Free versus slave.
I don't believe in slavery. I don't believe in corporate slavery as
I'm
what
not
people
asking you to
fight.
believe in it. I'm saying it. No, I don't understand the differentiation if that's the one you stick to. And slavery is a fact. We may not like it. It's a fact. If somebody ever lost,
Capturing people. What's the word for it again? Human trafficking.
yeah, that's the sanitized word. The
Human
bottom line.
trafficking is there's no slavery. It's human trafficking, and anyone who has been involved with it should be
Come on.
ashamed. Should
Russ,
be
Russ,
ashamed.
no, Russ, let's not play
The
the
British
word.
should be
Hold on, hold on,
ashamed.
hold on. Let's not play that semantics. The bottom line is
Oh my God!
slavery.
They don't call me
Slavery.
Semitic, you know.
No, slavery is when you have lost your freedom. Period.
Anyway, carry on.
No, yeah. But if you know what? As a matter of fact, you call it human trafficking, fine. Slavery, fine. Choice of word, no problem. But here's the real issue. Nobody to me is royal. Nobody to me is superior to anybody else.
It's not royal. Does not mean superior, brother.
Except in the way that you defined it earlier on when you said those who decide to give up their freedom and accept their slavery or servitude position.
They're capturing. They submit themselves to the capturer.
I can live with that. All right. Now, my next question is, how does the Maroon community, or you personally, view the UIC and its systemic solution, which is aimed at uniting, liberating, and empowering the people of Jamaica, including those who identify as Maroons?
I think there is a conflict of interest politically as to how politricks is done in Nyankopong. The recognition of not only the protection of our brothers and sisters, but the prosperity of our brothers and sisters must be front and foremost for any leadership politically that is going to put forward for our people. Now, the UIC, it seems to be a breath of fresh air because it's a new growth and opportunity, but it's heading in the said direction as far as the indigenous brothers and sisters is seeing the political arena. There is no tangible way forward to include ourselves politically with a governance that already has a blueprint as to allowing our rights be mingled with the so-called brothers and sisters who have accepted those jurisdictional laws and rules of the corporation. So our aligning with any political party of the first and foremost recognized we as the indigenous people, and therefore try to make alliance with us, the indigenous people, not we, the indigenous people, making alliance with their political affiliation.
Ah, I see. So basically, the Maroons in Jamaica sees themselves as superior to the rest of the
Not
people.
superior, indigenous to the land.
Well, let's define indigenous in terms of the relationship. So all of us occupy this space. So any Jamaican who has not yet come to the understanding that you have has to our origin and our
Not
identity.
me have the books, Brother Patterson. Don't personalize the
What what
movement.
what
No
book?
matter here.
What books? What books?
The books that shows that there's a 1738 surrender before the 1962 creation.
Okay, what books though? You're saying you're talking about the treaty document.
I think
When you say
I
books,
would.
what do you mean? I just want to understand.
It is recorded.
So you're
It
referring
is
to the 1738 treaty document. That's
the
what you're referring
surrender
to.
documents. Yes.
Okay. So the documents that were written by the British.
The literature that was provided by the losers can be used as a postmark that something did transpire. But from the winner perspective, the truth shall come out.
So the
Because
winner,
only the truth
the
shall set us
winner,
free.
so the winner doesn't have a document.
No, because the winner did not see the purpose of telling atrocious lies as to how we defeated them.
So the winner decided that to mark the evidence of their winning, they would
No,
have.
no, no. We did not decide it. And I said to you a while ago though, that all right, reference can be made that an existence before 1962 had taken place, right?
Yeah, we're not doubting the existence of anything. What I'm
Yeah.
trying to establish here is the basis on which you made the arguments you made earlier on. So you said based on the books, and I clarified that the books in your mind means the 1738 British document, which says it has formed a treaty
And
with a
all
group
right,
of people. Right?
it
No,
is
man,
it is it is
it's
it is
simple.
not only British documents, because within the lie of what came through the British who were defeated, people could read through the narrative, and there are literatures out there that speak about our
Okay,
victory.
it's
Now,
right. So there are authors out there who, like yourself on this program now, give it their particular twist and slant and how they want to perceive all of it. Fine, no problem. That's all a part of life. That's why we have history books. But the literature to which you are particularly referring to is the 1738 document, which you call a surrender document, and which the British call a treaty. But it is written in their language by their lawyers, and that's the basis now of you separating yourself from the rest of us in this land called Jamaica and saying that the way forward is for us to pay obeisance to your group by saying we acknowledge that you are the indigenous people of this land, and having acknowledged that, now we can sit down and talk about how we move forward from here. That's
no,
what you're
no,
saying.
no. I am explaining that true identification, most of us, like yourself, has identified through the Corporation of
No,
Jamaica.
no, I have not identified to the Corporation of Jamaica. I was born on August
Yeah, but
2nd.
you are a
Hold on,
Jamaican, Mr.
hold on.
Patterson.
Follow me, man, follow me. I was born on August 2nd, 1971,
Yes,
to Ruth Elizabeth Williams and Joseph
yes,
Patterson.
yes.
And I was not aware of my birth. I cannot with certainty tell you that my father is truly Joseph Patterson or my mother is truly Ruth Williams. I can't tell you that. But they claim that. And there's a piece of paper that I have where it says a nurse by whatever name signed off on that document to say, I was born on that day to these two persons, and it lists their age at the time and it lists their profession at the time. Me never make no choice, Ras Gadiethz.
You
Me
never have a
never,
choice in it. You did. You never have a choice
me
tonight.
never have no choice in deciding what somebody write down 1 month or 2 months after I was born and say, this is where you were born, Kingston Jubilee Hospital, to these two people of these two age, of these two profession who live in these two areas. So I am not going to argue about anybody choosing to identify as whatever, because all of us have to be born, have to be educated by somebody, either by a dunce or an educated person. And we're going to grow up with that knowledge. And at some point in our adult life or, adolescent life, growing up, we try to make sense out of it all. And if we're fortunate enough, we might find ourselves reading something that inspires a particular thought.
So you're born a Jamaica then. You're born a Jamaica.
Hold on, listen to me, brother. Or we might go somewhere and watch something or listen to something, and it inspires us to think a particular way. And like you, one of us might take a path and say, I want to learn more about this, and they learn more about it. They might learn truth or error. Another one take another path and they want to learn more about this, and they might learn truth or error. And at some point it plays out, and you see where they end up in life. So for me, I am not going to kind of look down upon or speak down to or
It is not that. It's
hold
not
on,
that.
or in any way denigrate my fellow Jamaicans
We are not doing
because,
that.
hold
We're
on,
not doing
hold
that.
on,
We're
because
not doing that.
because of no fault of their own. They were
We're not doing
born,
that. We're not doing that.
they were born wherever they were born, to whomever they were born to. And that was documented by under whichever system they were born. It was documented. So if they were born in Russia, it would be documented in Russia following the Russian documentation. If they were born in Ghana, it would be documented in Ghana under the system them have this one. By the way, Ghana is as much colonial as Jamaica. And if they were born in India, in Chennai, they would have been given whatever system the Indians and Chennai were using there, and so on. So we don't want to kind of differentiate and segregate people.
No, but your birth paper do it.
Yes.
Your passport do it.
Do
Your
what?
driver's license do it. They
What is it?
categorized you because of your jurisdiction.
What I'm
And if
saying,
your
what
jurisdiction,
I'm
if your
saying, you are saying to us that in order for you to work with your fellow Jamaicans, the people you wish to work with must first and foremost recognize your superiority and
their
their
indigenous right, our indigenous right, not because they tell you, hold on, not because them tell you, say, you is a white man, you believe, say, is a white man. You go and find out if you're truly a white man, you're indigenous to the island. None of us can deny that this is where you.
Are you saying that I am indigenous to Jamaica?
Of course.
On what basis?
Listen, man. Right now,
No,
the place that you,
on what basis?
your birthright, your birthright.
How do you know my indigenous heritage? How do you know?
All right. You can listen to me. You can get indigenous rights through several means.
Okay, all right. I thought
Yes.
indigenous means that you and your people are originally from that
I
land.
said you can get indigenous rights through several means.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can get your
All
indigenous
right.
rights because
Talk to me. Talk to me. Tell
the,
me. Get to the bottom line. What are you saying here?
your
I
your
asked
mother and
you.
your father, they
Uh,
run away from Haiti and you're born at Jamaica. Where you think your
okay.
rights there?
All right. So if you're born, so what you're saying to me then, all Jamaicans who are born here are Maroons.
The indigenous ones that have the lineage that is born there through their bloodline as to their mother and so forth, you know what I mean? They are indigenous.
All right. So you're saying if
They're
my
not
mother,
Jamaican, they're labeled
hold
Jamaican.
on, if my mother or my father were born to the bloodline of persons who were indigenous here, then then I am indigenous to Jamaica.
Then if my all right, yes, my son, although he's American, through my bloodline, him is an indigenous Nyankapong youth.
Okay. So all right. So earlier on you were saying the Nyankapong cannot engage in working with the UIC until the UIC acknowledges the indigenous nature of the Maroons. That's what you're saying here.
Yes, and then
And for the those of us in the UIC who are not au fait on the subject, we're not as informed as you are. Um, we would need first of all to spend some time with you or somebody like you and become informed as to your group's indigenousness, and only after that we can talk about moving forward. Am I clear on that?
I would love the UIC first and foremost not only to recognize the rights of the Maroon, but come within the realm of the rights of Maroon, and then the UIC can do what the PNP and the GLP will never be able to do because they are under the jurisdiction of the Crown. But if the UIC at this appropriate time, through your unique leadership and knowledge, should recognize the indigenous right of the Maroon and subscribe to it, you will have a wider play field to deal with.
When we subscribe to the indigenous rights of the Maroons, are we giving the Maroons a place that puts them above or having more rights than the other
The-
citizens of Jamaica, the other people in Jamaica, all the
well,
rest who do not identify with the Maroons? Are we giving them more rights than these other Jamaicans?
well, I should hope that when and if you run in the next general election and win, you will not put up your left hand to swear to serve the queen, the king, and the heir to his throne. Now, this will be, of course, something to show us that you are sincere to us by serving us collectively. Now, as far as we, the indigenous native, that recognize our ancestral rights, we are not given privilege anymore. We're given rights, and that is why our documents does not succumb to the jurisdiction of the
No,
crown.
I don't want to go back there now, because I am certain that your documents succumb to the jurisdiction of the crown.
You would
Because
like to believe that. You would love to
no,
believe that
no,
1962
I,
is before
no,
1738.
I am not trying to believe that
Then,
1962
then, my brother,
before.
you're living in a fairy tale.
No,
If you are going to tell me that
no,
1738 is not before 1962, which one of us
no.
is living in a fairy tale?
1738 chronologically comes before 1962.
Yes.
But in terms of the reality under which you live,
Whose reality? The loser's reality?
under the reality that all Jamaicans live
We
today.
will not side with the oppressors. And
No,
if you, my brother,
no,
sit
no,
here and
no.
tell me that through the unscrupulous measures that the corporation have been using for the last 62 years is not a burden to you, then you're living a
It
fairy tale.
is a serious burden to me,
To all of us,
and
to all of us,
to all sensible Jamaicans.
to all of us, all of us.
The difference between you and I is that
Yes.
I live in the reality that that is what it is, and
I know, but I will
I
not
do not,
accept it. I
I do
can
not,
live in it, but I
no,
will not accept it.
I do not pretend as if I am
No, do
not
you
under
accept?
the.
So do you accept that? So what is the
Hold on.
mission
Every
statement for the
day,
UIC
hold
then?
on. Every day that I get up, I have to abide by the laws of the land of Jamaica. under the
Not to
government
your
of Jamaica.
detriment, not to your detriment, because I know that there's certain
All,
burden out there that
all,
you don't go through.
all, no, all of the laws of Jamaica is the way they are written and the purpose for which they were written are a
To
burden to
serve who? To serve who?
yeah, man, so we agree on that. I think we're now going off the rails here. I want us to get
Sorry,
back
sorry,
on.
I'll stop.
So
I'll
let's
stop.
get back on track. So the real issue here is we wanted to understand where does the UIC fit in terms of the Maroons viewpoint. And the position that you have is unless we acquiesce to your demand that we first recognize you as your group as more sovereign than the rest of the Jamaican people, then we can't talk. We can't go forward in working on solving the problem that we have, the common problem. The common problem we have is that Jamaica is ruled by the colonial powers through their proxies, funded by the PSOJ oligarchs. You agree with that? That
It
is
is
the case?
it determine what sort of ruler or leadership you're talking about,
No, not
because
really. No,
you just
forget
admit a
about
while ago,
UIC.
you just had said a while ago that we're at war. So I don't know what if you call that governance.
Forgot what governance?
You just said a while ago that the Jamaicans are ruled by the laws of the Jamaica government, right?
Of course, yes, yes, yes. Every
And
day.
I say that what are those laws doing to our people?
No,
It's causing chaos.
we agree to that. That's fully agreed. What we're trying to
Okay.
understand now is how we're trying to move to solutions now.
Yes, yes.
So your solution that you one of them that you talk about is to get an ID card that will say you're now under the jurisdiction of the Maroons and you're no longer under the jurisdiction of the government of Jamaica. No, so, right? Yes or no?
We want to self-identify ourselves collectively so we can govern ourselves through our ancestral
All right.
right.
So what you're telling me, you're on a journey. So the first part of the journey is identifying with the Maroons.
Who are you?
It doesn't mean that you have fully regained your sovereignty. It means you're on a journey to sovereignty. Am I
The
right?
first step to sovereignty is to know who you are. Every
Exactly.
man got a right to decide his.
Miss
Yes.
Rascadites, help me out now because
I'm helping you.
you're
I'm helping.
making this longer than it is now because we want to get some quick answers so we can move along. So the first thing is your ID card. Do you have your card on you? Can I see it? Can you show me your card? You have it on?
I can fetch it, but I don't have it. I have
Okay,
it nearby.
no problem.
Yeah.
So your ID card,
Yes.
the one that you're asking all of us to get if we're indigenous Jamaicans, if we accept our indigenousness, you're saying get this card so that you will self-identify as a Maroon, as a member of the indigenous community in the land of Jamaica, which is yours. The land belongs to you. And you know that's my position already, that this land belongs to we the people. Now, that does not mean though that you are now where you want to be in terms of sovereignty. It is a stepping stone. The next part of it now is how do we work to get that full sovereignty? I think if I understand it correctly, you're saying the way we get there is as the system that now exists implodes, mash up itself, right? So two things. One, get your identity sorted out. Two, wait for the system to implode. And then three, when it does, we will take control. That's all?
We're not waiting for the decay of the corporation. It's already decaying in front of your eyes.
Okay. So are you saying that there is no time lapse between now and then we're already at the end? We're there already. We've now ascended.
Of course, His Excellency, the Right Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, he brought the relay to this point where we're taking it up and breaking the silence as far as being described as black. We're not black. The ID that we're issuing Words are powerful. If in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, that means that we need to get our language straight then, man. When we identify as a
Right.
Maroon, I remember the first, hold on, brother.
I'm at
Brother,
solution now. I'm at solution now. So I'm asking you some simple question.
yes,
Let me ask you again. Number one, the ID card does not mean you are now fully sovereign. It's
the
a
ID,
stepping stone. It's a
the
stepping
ID, the ID card is a recognition of your identity.
Okay, good. That's primarily what it does. And the next step is you're saying the system we're in is currently decaying. When do we regain our sovereignty?
Regain, reclaim, as I
When
said,
when do we you're sovereign, you have your sovereignty.
you
You're
are sovereign. You are sovereign. You're just,
sovereign.
it's just true at this appropriate time. And we're not the only one doing it too. The Moors are doing it. And I've met several Indians community who are doing it
No, we're
here.
not.
The
I'm not
Amish.
disputing. I'm not
Hold on, no,
disputing
brother,
that.
brother. But you know, you're not give me
I'm
a chance.
trying. No, I don't want to give you a chance when you talk too much. What I'm trying to do, I want to make sure that we just pin it, nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to say you're sovereign, and you know the UIC is big on sovereignty, but
Mm.
it's to want to embrace, to believe in your sovereignty, and being able to enjoy your sovereignty are two different things. So, more often know in a year plan, when do we begin to enjoy our sovereignty? Not just accept it and believe it and get a piece
Well,
of plastic to say we want it. When do we enjoy our
I
sovereignty?
love, I love, I love the fact that you want to enjoy. But with all of this happiness right now that's taking place, let me bring it to reality right now. You have the Emperor L.A. Lewis walking down on the land in Jamaica. Now, a couple years ago, a lot of people were saying that that we don't have anywhere to go to church. Them lock, people are getting inoculated, and there's one person when all of the big artists them out there, and we have so many stars in Jamaica, not one of them is to get up and talk to our people. And that's how we get a rebirth to say, well, listen me, something, we have to find out that within we identifying ourselves with our documents, it open a conversation with the corporation as to what is your plan. You want to tell me that we're on the wrong direction. What is your plan? If you don't bring a better plan, we're going to continue this direction of identifying ourselves and collectively forming a government
We
that
just
can.
lost the quality of your sound. I don't know what you did there. You
My
hit something.
apology. The phone is ringing. The phone is ringing. That's
Yeah.
that was a phone call coming in. But as I said, brother Pattison, we're on a
Mhm.
mission to document our brothers and sisters, and
We get that.
by documenting our brothers and sisters with their ancestral lineage, we hope to come from under the jurisdiction of the corporation that is oppressing us with some
Oh,
of the,
oh, 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 oh. How will you come from under the oppressors?
by identifying ourselves outside of their jurisdiction.
Okay. So your oppressors are going to stop controlling your economy, your school, your hospital, your roads, your
By
everything
all right.
because you have gotten a card. You've gotten a card that says you're now under a different jurisdiction. They will suddenly lay down their guns and say, "We honor you.
I
Please, you're
don't
so
think I don't think the oppressors, and this is not a fairy tale, because 2 weeks ago when the earthquake shake and Cliff Hughes run under the desk, me know say no government do that. And I am confident in this victory of good over evil, where the intimidation that they're doing to our people right now,
Mhm.
it don't phase us anymore.
All right.
Our the next generation now look forward to death more than life. And when you reach that pinnacle of governance, you have failed us tremendously.
All right. So you don't have any militant solution then. You just have
Of
a
course,
hope.
militant solution is when we reach, as you know, We have
What do you think about Malcolm X? Do you agree with his approach, with his thinking, the way he viewed the situation when he was trying to lead his people to the promised land?
Brother Malcolm X bring it to as far as he needed to bring it, you
No, we're
know.
not talking about that. So what do you think about his approach? Was his approach a relevant approach?
From what point of view? What are you talking about particularly?
No, his approach was quite militant.
Was he militant?
No, his approach was quite militant.
No, they paint him after and got to Mecca and come back with a lot of resources with people. The corporation paint him as an outlaw. The character
No, I
assassination.
didn't
That
call him.
hold
I
on,
did not
hold
call
on,
him an outlaw.
Brother Patterson, and you must admit this, Brother Patterson. Anytime one of our brothers and sisters get a dream, the oppressors through propaganda. If them not say we're mad, if them not use all kind of things.
I called him militant. I never called him mad or outlaw.
No, but he's not. He wasn't militant.
Oh, he wasn't militant.
He was excellent. He was excellent.
Oh, for me that was excellence.
Militant can put him in a sense where people see him as a threat. He was never a threat.
I see him he was a threat, of course.
No, he was a threat to the oppressors.
Of course, yes, of course. I mean, any revolutionary is going to be.
And the oppressors are ignorant because they don't know love. So if even say hi to them feel scared because they know the atrocity that they have done to our people.
I think you love talking more about the oppressor than about the solution. I think
why would you?
I know, but when I listen to you, I think you enjoy talking more about the oppressor and worshiping. It's like you're worshiping their success over us, as opposed to focusing on what we need to do now to get out of it, because we're not going to get out of it by this kind of talking. What I'm seeing is the solution from your group, from what I'm hearing, if I hear correctly, the solution from your group is get a ID card and let's hope that the implosion manifests itself, and then we can take over from the oppressor. And to me, that is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. The Martin Luther King approach of nonviolence, and by nonviolence I mean where you turn the other cheek, where you simply passively pass through and seek to share lunch counter and hotel room and bathroom with your oppressor and share classroom with your oppressor. That's not the solution. If you want to enjoy your sovereignty, you must have the freedom to own your own bus. You say you can sit down in the front seat or the back seat or the middle seat. Own your own school. So the curriculum and teaching is yours. Own your own medical healthcare system so you can decide what kind of medicine you're going to use. Own your own economy so you can build it and own it and run it the way you want to, as opposed to being in an economy where somebody else decides your exchange rate and somebody else decides your purchasing power and somebody else decides the volume of the money that circulates in your economy. So I prefer the Malcolm X approach, and I denounce the Martin Luther King approach. And I am hearing from the Nyankopong Maroons a Martin Luther King approach.
No, rubbish. That's rubbish. One of the greatest thing that, as I said, the pen is more mightier than the sword. You know how irritated. Hold on now. Can I let you talk, Brother Patterson? You have to give me a little breathing space.
Go on, yeah.
You know how irritated the Prime Minister and the ministers them get when them hear anytime the Maroon them echo anything. You see it from the Prime Minister. Them get up and say, there's no such thing as Maroon land. Why do they want to deny us of our right? Now, when we start to identify, and you just say that my Nyankopong is for everyone. We're looking for brothers and sisters who are on the sideline, watching us suffering, pushing this movement of our people and criticizing and not putting their shoulders to the wheel, as you said a while ago. It is not poverty that divides our people. It is not money that divide our people. It's a lack of knowledge. So When I say to you, identify ourselves so we can come from out of their jurisdiction, we are stuck in a jurisdiction by law, and this law, it is have us as subject. When we come from under that and start to identify collectively as a nation, then we can start to govern ourselves. It is not that we can't govern ourselves. As I said to you a while ago, Brother Patterson, the UI.
How is the governing going so far? How is the governing the area occupied by the Maroon right now in Jamaica, the physical land area that a collective of Maroons currently run and operate? How is that governing going? How well are they governing themselves?
Inclusion or sovereign, as a sovereign, because every one of us who has taken ourselves to identify stand individually as sovereign, collectively forming a government, the only one that has something on the table where you can look forward to is, Nyankopong is looking not only to say we are identifying our brothers and sisters, but we also want to use these professionals to enhance our government, our governance.
We have 5 minutes to go. And
Yeah.
So I'm afraid we're going to have to do a part 3 because
Oh my God.
we haven't gotten to where I want us to get yet, but we're closer now. So I want to give you the opportunity now to use the last 5 minutes to ask me any questions you want to ask me, because you might be thinking, I have been driving the show, but I know you might have something you want to ask. So go ahead.
Yeah. First and foremost, do you support the Maroon indigenous brothers and sisters?
Well, I've been asked this question before, and I've given a very clear and straight answer. When the UIC is elected to form the government, we're going to have something like a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where this is like I'm talking to you. I want all the facts to be brought to the table. I want us to have a Congress. I want to bring all the stakeholders in Jamaica, and by stakeholders, I simply mean the people of Jamaica, to the table, and that people includes all who identify as Maroons, as Rasta, as Christians, as anything. And we're going to get the facts. So Treaty of 1738, history books, European version, Rasta version, Maroon version, and we're going to have a commission that lays out the facts for the Jamaican people, the pros and the cons. We're going to identify what we know with certainty and have conjecture on, what we have a body of knowledge on, and what we have to be, kind of estimating. And once we have all of that, our esteemed panel, which would include Maroons, those who identify as Maroons, and those who do not identify as Maroons, and those who are wondering if they should identify as Maroons, and we're going to have a conclusive position on what this all means and present that to the people of Jamaica as the facts, identifying what we know and what we don't know. And that will decide where land boundaries are, where ownerships are, where indigenous rights are, where family heritage rights are. And at the end of the day, the sovereignty of every single solitary Jamaican, meaning you have a long-term connection with this country, will be protected. And the land of this country will no longer be considered government land or crown land, but every Jamaican who have a heritage here by virtue of the past, the distant past, like slavery and so on, will be given their birthright heritage of owning this land. If you want to own a group of it and call yourself Maroons, or own a group of it and call yourself Rasta, or whatever, that will be yours to decide, because that land will be yours, that space will be yours, and your sovereignty will be recognized and protected. Your right to your life, your liberty, and your property. So, for example, remember Pinnacle? You know the Pinnacle with Leonard Powell, right? Howell. If we were to have a group of Jamaicans who say they want to live that way, and they have the identified rights to that piece of area, they will now be able to live that way without any molestation and show the rest of Jamaica how people living under those conditions can be a blessing to themselves and to others. That kind of opportunity will be availed to all the people today who are known as Jamaicans.
I want to ask you one last question because we're running out of time. When it comes on to the monetary transaction of the Corporation of Jamaica, will you honor our indigenous rights to govern ourselves by printing our own monies and having our own militias?
So when the UIC forms the government, one of the fundamental rights that will be returned to the people is the right to choose what they want to use for money. There will be a national money. It will be true money, meaning it will be not a fiat currency, and it will be backed by the productivity of the people. If, however, let's say a subset of Jamaicans want to create a form of exchange that they think works best for them, there will be nothing in law to prevent that. There will be no legal tender laws in Jamaica because legal tender laws is a form of slavery. We must honor the rights of people to be able to create their own economy and to let that work for them, and no one should interfere with it insofar as they do not interfere with others.
I rest it for now because you say 5 minutes. It's exactly 5 minutes. And I think we have shared a lot with our brothers and sisters, and the journey continue. The journey continue. It's a work in progress, brothers and sisters. If it was easy, it would have been done eons ago. But we are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. Reassessing and reclaiming our ancestral rights is something that is necessary for the progress of moving forward of our brothers and sisters.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ras Gadiethz of the Nyankapong Maroons. Now let's hear from our audience. Could you please rate the program? If you think that tonight we had an excellent program, give us 100%. If you think it was less than 100%, please indicate that as well so we can know how we're serving you. Please also put in the comment box any questions or concerns you have, or any form of commendation or negative feedback. Put that in there as well so we can know. I see here where it says the UIC is ready and waiting to free the people for the first time at last. Andrew McGregor says final judgment and civil order. I don't know what that is.
No, because before I go, thank you so much for McGregor clan out of Canada for on board, and all of our brothers and sisters, the Nyankapong brothers and sisters globally that is logged on. Thank you so much.
That's one of your members, Mr.
That's the Maroon. Yeah, McGregor clan.
He's a Maroon. Okay, wonderful. So he was giving you a lot of stuff. Just quickly look at the comments if we see anything in there that is, needing a quick response. We're getting a lot of 100% here, so you did very well tonight, Mr. Ras Gadiethz. I hope you found the exchange productive and useful.
This is how we do diplomacy, and I must say, grand rising to His Excellency, Emperor L.A. Lewis. A lot of people do not see the diamond in the rough, but, we can learn from each and every one of us, And we at Nyankapong, we say the pen is mightier than the sword because we live that experience. I am a living testimony as to going through the channels with the corporation and seeing how they belittle our royalty, and our contribution to the world, to the globe at large.
We're not going to start over the conversation, but thank you so very much, my brother. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night until I see you next time. For my my friends here, let me just remind all of you that we have our Christmas dinner coming up. It looks something like this. Let me just put it on screen here for you. So December 23rd, 4:30 p.m., we will be live on location here in Northeast St. Elizabeth. We will be on the farm. Mrs. Patterson and I will be treating all of you. All children and senior citizens are free. Everyone else, we ask you to contribute 5,000 Jamaican dollars or 50 US dollars. You can do so online. Go to our website at uicjamaica.com and make your contribution tonight. You can just click the donate button and send us 50 US dollars. If you have less than that and you just want to contribute to help somebody to attend, please go ahead and donate and tell us that you wanted to go to the Christmas dinner we're having on the 23rd of December. We also, want to reach out to all of the persons in my constituency. You have the citizens of Elam, Bogue, Braze River, Santa Cruz, Balaclava, Shiloh, and the rest of Northeast St. Elizabeth, and all Jamaicans. You're all welcome to this event that we're having on the 23rd of December, 2023, 4:30 p.m. on the Patterson's farm. We're going to have special artists, Young Garvey, together with other artists. We call it Young Garvey and Friends. They will be performing. So you can look out for some very nice music and some good food, and drinks will be on sale. It's going to be quite festive, quite community oriented. We'll have a lot of space, tents, parking available, all of that. It's going to be a wonderful event. So I'm inviting all of you who can to come out. You can join us online. So if you're in the US or the UK, feel free to join us online for the event. Once you contribute to the event, you'll be sent a link, a Zoom link, a private link, so you can come on and participate, see what's going on and so on. We're going to have prizes and surprises as well. There'll be an auction. A lot of stuff were donated by persons who will be auctioned off at the event. It's going to be really nice. So I invite all of you to come out. So again, it's our annual Christmas dinner fundraiser. The proceeds will go to my campaign fund, so we can actually elect me as a member of parliament for Northeast St. Elizabeth. If you want that to happen, of course, if you don't want that to happen, then don't donate. But if you want us to have a seat in parliament so we can begin the process of rescuing Jamaica, please go to our website, uicjamaica.com, and make your donation tonight, tomorrow, $50 US, for $5,000 Jamaican, if you're local here in Jamaica. And let's have a good time on December 23rd. All right, so that's it for commercial. Have yourself a lovely night, and remember, one Jamaica, we're stronger together. Take care, and thanks again.
UIC Liberty TV. Change you can trust.